We're sitting down and chatting today with filmmaker Victoria Duncan, writer and director of The Transgressor. I guess I want to start at the beginning. How did you even discover your love of filmmaking?
So I always liked making films when I was like 12, 11 years old. And I would try to get my friends to help make films with me, but they would always be very hard to coordinate to get them to come and like help out. So I would make little stop motion animated films with like my dolls and just like film it and then put it on like YouTube. And I had a YouTube channel, and like I ended up getting a lot of subscribers from that.
What kind of like movies?
They would be like anything. Like some of them they started off just being like, oh look, my doll is like waving to the camera or whatever, just stuff like that. But then I would make some really weirdly dark, like deep. I don't even know. I just thought I was an artiste when I was like 12 years old. I don't know. I think middle school was probably the time when I would watch a lot of films that just like stayed with me.
What were some of those films?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was a big one.
You were deep for a 12-year-old. Oh my god.
I totally like went all out. And I always knew I had this passion, and I just kept doing it. In high school, I was involved in theater, and I would do all the little like trailers for all the plays. I would cut them together, and I cut together this video that was to convince middle schoolers to join theater, and like we showed it to them and be like, hey, this is really fun. You'll make a lot of friends, express your creativity and all that. So yeah, I did that throughout high school, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna apply to college. What do I wanna study? Or, I'm like, well, maybe psychology, maybe something artistic related. I like writing and all that. So, and then I'm like, well, I love filmmaking. It's kind of like no one in my life actually like respected, they were like, because I had my YouTube channel, and I had subscribers from who knows where who would watch it, and they would encourage me. Yeah, they would encourage me and to keep going. But obviously my friends would just make fun of me for like, oh my god, Victoria, like you and your like doll videos is so weird, like whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna like apply to NYU. Like I applied to mainly local schools in North Carolina, and I was like, okay, like, because I'm from North Carolina. And I was like, let me just try and see if I get it. And, like, it's a long shot. And I submitted a film that I made in like 8th grade, like with a doll, I guess, and like a fantasy film. I don't know. And I think I wrote a personal essay. I'm not really sure what I wrote about.
So then you got to NYU. You moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Was film school anything like you expected, or?
Oh my God. I did not know what to expect, because I had never been to New York. I was in New York like in 8th grade or something for a week, and that was the only time I'd ever really been here. So it was culture shock. Like I was not ready for the city, and I think I almost was going to drop out at one. Like I wanted to drop out because I just felt, I missed home and all that.
What changed, I guess, that initial feeling of, oh my God, culture shock, do I want to stay here?
A lot of it was probably like the friends I ended up making. I ended up having a community of people that I felt at home in, obviously.
Do you think New York really made a difference for you as well? Growing up as an artist in North Carolina sounds a lot different than, the big city art world.
Well, for me, it was so much different from what I was used to. I was so sheltered in North Carolina. I lived in the suburbs, like I wasn't used to going to school with people from different countries and have different opinions, like very strong opinions that I think are just like, no, that's wrong, but they're like, actually, no, you're wrong. And I'm like, wait, but who's right? And then it just becomes, you kind of learn to compromise and see other people's perspectives, and I think because of that, I think it helps as an artist as well. I
saw you shot in North Carolina, is that true?
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about both deciding on that location and what it was like to shoot like in your home.
Yeah, I felt this like comfort in being somewhere where I was so used to being around growing up, and I liked how the Outer Banks of North Carolina, I'm not sure if you know much about it, but it's this...
I know that the Lost Colony is
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So that was kind of odd watching a
There you go.
dystopian movie and
Yeah.
making that connection. So vaguely, but yeah, keep telling me.
So it's like the sliver of land off the coast of North Carolina, and basically if you're driving down it, it's just sand. Like it's like on one side of the road, it's the Sound, which is this big pool of water towards the actual coast of North Carolina, and then on the other side is the ocean. So it's this tiny sliver, and there's not a lot going on in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It's just like houses, and a lot of them are really old, but it's also really peaceful. And I feel like not many people know much about the Outer Banks, and I wanted to do a story about it, or like set in that place, but not like taking the landscape and turning it into something different.
It does feel almost familiar but otherworldly, and
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious about the world that this is set in,
Okay.
because it's close to ours, but not. And how did you create it, and how do you see it? And most importantly,
It's sort of like a hypothetical reality. Like it could be in the future, but maybe not. In the end, it's a dystopian society where music used to be legal, but then over time, with passing laws and all of that, it's not legal anymore. So it's banned. So it's just sort of more the setting that I created to put these characters in and to tell this story.
and it feels very militant. And what's
Yeah.
so interesting is you've taken this authoritarian concept and you've paired children with it.
Yeah, I think I like telling stories about kids. I don't know why, it just tends to happen.
I can see that a little bit.
Yeah.
But and plus, you're shooting at your childhood location. It seems
True.
almost kismet that.
For me, at least, I think I even already talked about this. This is when I was figuring out who I was and what I liked and like my passions and stuff. But I was also very innocent and not really tainted by the world yet. So that's why I wanted the main character to be a young girl, I guess.
What was it like directing them? Have you worked with younger actors before?
I had worked with younger actors before. The last time I worked with younger actors, I was directing kids who didn't speak English in Prague.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in this like 35 millimeter filmmaking program in the Czech Republic, and I was given actors who didn't speak English, and I had to have like a translator on set and be like, hey, like, can you tell her to do this? And like, it was, yeah. So that was really hard. So that definitely prepared me.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier this time.
A little bit easier, and obviously these kids were really professional, and they were actors, and they've done it before. And
How did you explain this world to them? That's the thing. It's not just working with children. It's this dystopian
explaining
drama.
it, yeah. I think they got it. I mean, I think I just kind of explained it the way I explained it to you. Just like it's a world kind of in the future where music is banned. You know, music used to be legalized, now it's not. You know, you've never heard music before. Just, I tried to get them into the vibe, into the feeling of what it's like to have never heard music before and to hear it for the first time, and how that would feel, you know. And I kind of tried to bring it back to things that they've experienced. You know, the first time you went swimming, or the first time you did something you were scared to do, or I don't know. I tried to connect it with that for them.
Well, I think it came across really clear. I mean, both the actresses playing Amanda and Mary are just. It seems like they're really fully in that world, and when the music Amanda is introduced to comes on, there's this great shift. And how did you pick the music for the film? I know it's both classical music that we've heard, and then is it original music? How did you decide what sounds made it?
I chose classical music because I thought it was just a very timeless type of music and just beautiful. I mean, I used to do ballet and I used to play the violin when I was younger, so I've always had a soft spot for classical music. So I think that's why I wanted to choose it. Also, I like how classical music, there's no words to it really. It's just so emotive, and there's so many different instruments, and there's highs and lows, and there's a climax, and then it goes down. And I like how it's sort of showing, it's telling you how to feel with the music without having to do it through lyrics. It's just just about the emotions of the song. So,
what do you feel that you're drawn towards? How do you decide what you want to make and how you want to make it?
I am inspired by people who have experienced things differently from me, and I like to see what it would be like to be in their shoes. I think it's really interesting.
So you worked with kids, but if you had to pick an animal, cat or dog?
Dog.
Why?
Because dogs are more fun.
That's why, not that they're easier to train, they're more fun.
Well, dogs are just lovable, and like I get kind of creeped out by cats because I feel like they always have a hidden agenda.
But not dolls, not...
No, dogs just love you no matter what, yeah.
Yeah, if you had to pick a topic, would you do politics or religion?
Religion?
Interesting, why?
I think spirituality is an interesting thing that's universal amongst all people, so yeah, I think it's cool. I would choose religion. And then politics just feels so like hidden agenda, like nasty. I don't like politics.
This is interesting, especially after watching your film. Indoor shoots or outdoor shoots?
I like outdoor shoots because you can take advantage of the natural lights. And
so that seems like something people don't like about outdoor shoots. Because
really?
There's a lot of elements involved,
true.
Right?
That's
you
true.
shot on a beach. How did you do sound for that?
Oh God, it was so hard. It was so difficult. That whole process was like, we were like dodging torrential downpours. Like it was crazy.
Casual, yeah.
Yeah. But I think like it's worth it in the end because you get to see these beautiful natural like works of nature. It's awesome. Yeah.
If you weren't doing what you do now, what would you be doing? What other interests or careers might you have taken?
Some sort of job that allows me to travel a lot and experience different cultures.
They got to make that BFA in travel.
There you go. Or global, what is it? Global international relations.
Yeah,
Isn't that a thing?
that's the politics. You want the religion.
I don't want.
You want the fun of travel. I look forward to hearing more about what happens to the film. And
thank you.
Good luck with the future, and thanks so much for talking to me today.
This is a great chat. Thank you.